So, hi everybody, and today I will be live in English, and this is one a really good project. Is about connecting with the men around the world, and this project is called The Path of the Bull. And today I ask one brother from the Africa to join me and talk about spirituality. So a brother. So I will invite Akshar really soon. Just waiting.
Hello.
Hello, Akshar. How are you?
Fine. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very good. I can listen like the echo from your earphone, I think.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Let me try to close something here. I think it's gonna help.
Yeah, that's okay. Like we are live, and this is like the nice way to really like in genuine way. So it's fine. Okay.
Yes. Did it help? Did it
I
help?
think I think it's okay now. Yeah, it's better. Kind of.
Sure.
Yeah. We got the
I'll
same
try with
problem.
this.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
How is it now?
Okay. Perfect. I think it's better. Much better. Thank you. Perfect.
Super.
Okay. So, thank you for joining. We have a lot of time. Like, our meeting as well is very good.
Sorry, Alessandro. Now I cannot hear you so well.
Okay.
These things. Yes.
It's so interesting that we have this thing. Okay. Can we try now to speak a little bit? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, let's try. So, anyway, tell us a little bit about you and what are you doing?
All right. So, as you said, my name is Akshar. I am from Mozambique. Mozambique is in the southeastern part of Africa. We speak Portuguese here, so it's a bit similar to Italian. I work with languages, and I also work with meditation, Tantra, and circles of men.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, sorry, I didn't like. Probably there was a problem with the connection still. I'm gonna see if it's my problem. Okay. Okay. Can you try to repeat, please? Because until you say Tantra.
I was saying that I'm from Mozambique, which is a country in the southeast of Africa. And here we speak Portuguese. And I've been working with languages. I'm a teacher, but I also work with meditation. I was trained in India to facilitate meditation events. And I also work with circles of men, circles of masculinity.
Okay, I want to ask you about like this topic because this like kind of project who working with a man. I would like to ask like first question, like for you, how is important this particular message working with a man, and also how is important for the man to work with other men.
Okay. Yeah. So in the beginning, I started working with everyone. And I still work with women as well, of course. But I felt the need to find out more about myself and all the aspects, including my masculinity, how I deal with male energy, and how other men deal with it. Because my idea of places where men meet was usually not a very good idea. I thought always when men meet, they don't talk about things that are important for themselves or for the world. They just focus more on superficial things. That was my judgment. You know, I recognize that. So I wanted to get to know a little bit more of this world, especially because I grew up only in a house with women. So even though I see my dad, we never really lived in the same house. So I realized that there was a lot that I didn't know about the male energy in general, especially the healthy one. And then because of that, there was the idea of men always being responsible towards women, for example, or men never showing emotions, men always being super strong, men never saying what they feel. These are the things that I learned about what it means to be a man. And of course, some of the things were also natural to me, but some of the things were not. So I wondered if there was a problem because I didn't really fit completely in the image, in the box that they put men in. So part of my self-discovery process was really to try to understand who is really this person here, what is my essence, what part of it influences or is influenced by the male energy. And I say this because I think I mentioned to you before, working with Tantra, we have the idea that we are both. We are male energy and female energy. Tantra says there is no duality in essence, only in the outside world, and it's like an illusion. It's like there is a difference between male and female. But in Tantra, we say that we are both of them, and it's like two sides of one coin. So the coin is the same, but if you look at this face, this side of the coin, you'll see the male energy, and the other side, you'll see the female energy. Because each and all of us, we come from our moms and dads, our mothers and fathers. So in us, we have the energies of our mother running, acting, and also of our fathers. And Tantra teaches us to accept that, you know? So we might see ourselves naturally inclined a lot to one of the energies. But I believe that it's important to have a balance. It's important to nourish and cultivate both sides. Some moments in our lives, we really need to be strong, hard, even aggressive. And I don't mean violent, but I say aggressive as in with a boost to go forward, right? In that way, we need action, we need initiative. At other times, we need to be calmer, we need to be softer, we need to rest. We cannot be acting the whole time, even if we are men. And society made us believe that men should always take the initiative and women should always wait, you know, to be approached, to be saved, all those things. And this experience with meditation and Tantra has changed my view, you know. So we are both men and women in a certain way. We are both aggressive and calm. We are both active and passive. We are all of that, you know.
Well, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We had the conversation. Thank you so much to
Yes.
share with us.
Sure.
When did you listen the calls that brought you into the spiritual path, to your spiritual path?
Mm-hmm. So I started actively going after this in 2012. So it's about 8 years ago that I really started looking for meditation theory and also practice. I started going to workshops. I started participating in courses, and I started reading a lot of books on this topic. And I always like to share this. My journey started with a book called Fear, Understanding and Accepting Life's Insecurities. That book really, I know it sounds like a cliche, but it changed my life because it helped me to see how much we humans live based on fear. We base our decisions, we base our relationships, our careers, our life paths and choices, often based on the fear of not being successful, or the fear of dying, or the fear of failing. So instead of going and moving through love, out of love, we move out of fear. And that book by Osho really made me realize that, oh my God, I'm doing so much stuff, not because my spirit is asking me to do it, but because I'm trying to be safe. I'm trying to, create a routine and a life that will assure me some safety, which is an illusion. Nobody is really safe at the end of the day, you know? Even what we're living now is showing us that we have no control over the bigger events, you know? We can control how we respond to stuff, but life itself is so much bigger than us. And it's not a bad thing. So when we recognize that life is so much bigger, we can really surrender. We can align ourselves with life, with the universe, with the godliness, whatever name you want to call it. And from that moment on, we live in alignment with reality, with what is, with our soul's mission, you know? So about 8 years ago, that book opened that world to me, like, wow, I've been living in fear all this time. So now I can choose to live out of love. I can choose to base my decisions on the things that really make sense to me, regardless of what people will say. And just to give you an example, I've always wanted to have a hair like this, you know? And that was that year when I decided I'm going to do it. Because in my society, even though traditionally we Africans have this curly hair and dreadlocks, we've come to a point in which we are so disconnected with our traditions, our realities, that we just bought this Western idea that to be civilized, you have to look in a certain way, or this or that, you know? So that year I said, okay, I'm going to take the risk of being called names because of my hair. One, because it's not seen anymore as a civilized thing. And two, because long hair is usually what society says is for girls, for women. So, you know, this is one example of how when you are confined in the idea of masculinity, you are not really free to express yourself, for example. And this journey helped me to gain the courage to be myself more and more. And I'm still in the process. I'm still learning as time goes by. I'm still learning day by day. But I feel like more and more, I'm more aligned with myself, with my truth, you know, and my path. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Look, I might ask some advice because I start like to organize something Men Circle, you know, like thinking about the men working together.
Yes.
I'm struggle in some kind of a point, like about like the gender as well. Like when I want to put the men together, I mean all men. Doesn't matter if they are like gay or heterosexual. So I'm a little bit
Yes.
struggle because I wanna you know, focus about the male energy, the body of
Yes.
the man, how it works. It is different from the female. what do you think about it? What kind of advice, or I don't know, what do you think about that?
Okay. Um, yeah, so what do I think about that? Actually, we use the word masculinity, but I actually believe that we should be using more and more masculinities in plural, because there's no such thing as one masculinity, you know? So, as I was saying in the beginning, there's only one energy. Tantra sees oneness, but it can be manifested as female and male. But even in the female or in the male, there are millions of manifestations. I think that, or even billions, you know? I think that each man has a particular way of being a man. And it's not because of a man's characteristics, orientation, choices, whatever. That doesn't make that man less of a man or more of a man because of this or that. So there are billions of masculinities. And I think the purpose of this work is also to bring men together and say, guys, let's talk about this. And let's see that each of us is a unique demonstration of masculinity. And we are all men and all okay, exactly as we are. So the group of men is open for any races, any age, any sexual orientation, any religion, any political party, anything. If you see yourself as a man and you want to understand more about yourself, about your being, your emotions, your behaviors, then you're welcome. So even like, for example, transgender men, in my society in Mozambique, we're still very closed-minded about anything that is not the norm, for example. And in the group, for example, if a transgender man, and just to explain to people who might not know exactly what I mean, a person who was born in a female physical body but identifies as a man also is part of our group, is also welcome, because it's about people who perceive themselves as men. Doesn't matter your characteristics, doesn't matter your sexual orientation, doesn't matter anything. What it matters is that you come with an open heart, an open mind. You're willing to listen with love. You're willing to understand. And you have the choice to share your point of view, to share your opinions, but you're not forced. So one of the challenges is that when I invite men, they feel like, oh, I don't know what to say. I will not want to speak. I say, even if you don't want to speak so actively, it's all right. If you want to be in that environment, if you want to listen to other men speak and know a little bit more, you're welcome. And what happens is that often when they are already in the environment and they see other men speaking, they start realizing, oh, so I'm not the only one who thinks this way, or I'm not the only one with this problem, for example, whatever the problem might be, you know? And then when you start seeing other men feeling the same way as you and thinking the same way as you, things that you thought were only yours, because society doesn't let us speak openly. And then we start thinking like, oh, it's just my problem. But then you start seeing other men saying like, oh, I have the same problem. It's encouraging, it's comforting for us, you know? So we feel like we're not alone, and we're actually not, there's nothing wrong with us, actually.
I agree with you. Like, I was thinking as well, if we watch also online, we can see like Men Circles growing fast and fast everywhere. We can see there is a lot of men groups, and the women was calling this kind of energy. The woman was waiting to see the man, doing that.
Yeah.
What do you think about how is it important for you right now as well to to show, or maybe to, can I say, like, um, yeah, to show in a way as a man um, to other men. How
Yeah.
do you think it's important right now? Like,
So circle is that, yeah, because men in society, sorry,
okay.
I'm having a bit of a trouble with the sound, sorry,
It's
because
okay.
I cannot hear you when I plug in the earphones, and you
Okay.
cannot hear me when. All right, cool. So what I was saying is that because our societies have been benefiting men more than women for centuries, women unfortunately were in a position of disadvantage for a long time. So they had to resist, they had to reclaim their powers, their rights. And that's why I think we saw that. They started doing the work much earlier than we did. Because we didn't have to, you know? Being a man with privileges, you feel like, I'm comfortable here, so why would I change? Why would I move? And they started doing this work before us. But now, I think as men, we started realizing that they are advancing so quickly and we are staying behind. And it's not about competition, but it's when we see inspiring examples, we usually try to follow, you know? You say like, oh, so there's room for growth and I want to also be there. I want to get to that level, let's say. Or if there was a connection before, because one person was on top and the other person was at the bottom being dominated, and now they no longer accept to be dominated. So they created a different reality, and men must adapt as well. So it's like, okay, for us to make sense of what's happening, we also must, let's say, get updated. You know, we have to update the system to understand these new versions of women, of humans in general. So we started doing the same thing, which I think is super important because, like I said, it's all about balance. If only one side of humanity is doing this, we will not be connected. We will be going in different directions. And I think the most beautiful thing is when we start coming closer together, you know? And the point of these circles is not usually, most of the times, as far as I know, in a women's circle, men don't participate and vice versa. But it's not to separate and divide and to create two, let's say, two sides. No. It's for each side to understand each other better and to come close to their essence. And I think, like I said, the essence is the same. We have the same essence as humans. Doesn't matter if you're European and I'm African, or if I'm a man and there's a woman, the essence is the same. And the more we look at ourselves on the inside, we start realizing our essence. And when you say that it's important to show, I agree, because, like I said, many men don't know it, but they think they're the only one facing stuff or going through things. So when they start seeing more and more men doing this, they feel like, okay, there's a place for me to be embraced, where I can be there and open up without being judged, without being criticized, and also to grow and learn in a safe way. So they start going to those places. So the more we do this, the more we show, the more people can benefit from these groups, you know? And I think you said also to show to the women. Yeah, we need to show to everybody, you know? Because women also were brought up in this society and they also have prejudices about men. Remember how I was saying that even being a man, I had prejudices against men, and men have prejudices against women. So it's not about who is the better one, who wins. No, it's about understanding ourselves and each other better. So showing that we're doing this is also showing that we are willing to create a better world together. You know, that's my opinion.
Yeah. You know, I did last year, this month, I did one retreat.
Mm-hmm.
During the full moon, we been separate, like, and let the women stay for themselves.
Yes.
We will work with the men, and then at some point we like the woman have the man circle, and we celebrate them. So I really like this is because it's so important to have a separate moment. So have like a men's circle and women's circle because we need to work also with our energy first before also, to match together with the other energy and to focus about to remember actually the real one energy. And so I come back about like the tantra you say as well. So
Yes.
I get the feeling that will be good, use the tantra circle as well, and also after together, it's really good. I think.
Alessandro, sorry, you're breaking a little bit. I didn't understand the last sentence,
Okay.
the last one.
Okay, I think the tantra
Yes.
will be good, like working with the tantra in the men's circle, and then working with the tantra with the women's circle, and then working with the tantra together. I don't know. I never did tantra, so I don't know how it works. But this is what's coming to my mind. So, what do you think about this idea that I?
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea, and people who've been working with tantra a lot. How can I say? For a long time, they use that. So in tantra, you'll find also often, not all the time, you'll find couples. And talking about, for example, a straight couple, a man and a woman, it's often seen that they do groups together, all of them, and then sometimes they split up, and the guy goes with the guys, and the girl goes with the girls, and they work on themselves, and then they come back and share. It's not necessarily this way, Even people who are not couples, they do the same work. But the thing is, I agree when you say it's important to have a circle of men on the side and then the women, because a man knows what a man goes through, because you are in the body of a man, and you have your challenges, you have your issues, you have your good sides as well. The same thing goes for women. And I think even though the essence is the same, there's a part of us that will not truly understand 100% of women if you're in male bodies, and vice versa, But at the same time, like I said, because the point here is to come close together, it's important to understand each other. So if women are together and they understand their needs, their attitudes, everything, and men do the same, then can communicate easily as well from that space, If you never give yourself the chance to reflect upon yourself, how can you communicate your needs clearly? How can you communicate who you are if you don't know who you are? So, yeah, I think it's important to have a specific place separate for men, separate from women, and if possible, also a space for both of them together. Now, you talked about Tantra. Another thing Tantra says is that the men and the women outside, our parents, our friends, and our lovers, they are usually there to help us integrate that energy inside. So the men outside of us help us to integrate the male energy inside, and the women outside of us, they help us integrate the female energy inside. And for Tantra, we are all sacred. There's no difference between sacred and sinful, for example. There's no sinful for Tantra. And the energy is sacred, our bodies are sacred. The male energy is the sacred masculine, and the female energy is the sacred feminine. And like I said, they both are two sides of one coin, two sides of one phenomenon. If you reject one side, you're rejecting the whole thing. Imagine I have a coin, and I say, oh, I don't like this side, so I'm going to throw it away. When I throw away that coin because of one side, I threw away the whole coin. So I will not feel complete, you know? So the thing is, learn how to look at both sides, understand both sides better. You have it inside of you. So if you look at it, you will find both aspects of you, you know?
Yes, I agree. Another question, maybe the last one. If, like, for the men that are watching now, which kind of like message do you like to want to say to them, like about to join a men's circle? Why is it important in create this kind of space and to bring the male energy together? So,
Sorry, I had trouble with the sound again.
Okay.
Please, can you repeat?
Sure, no worry. Okay. For the men, they are watching. What kind of like why they have to join men's circles around this area? Why?
Okay. So, like I said, first of all, it's a matter of gaining awareness that the way we behave, the way we think, the way we feel, all those things, they are not fixed and they should not be boxed up, you know? So one important thing is to have the possibility of being whole, being completed, you know? If we are rejecting constantly some aspects of us because we are men, we will not feel complete. So when you go there, you start talking about your emotions because we need to. It's a need. But usually on a day-to-day basis, we don't really talk about how we feel because it's a girly thing or it's showing weakness. So, but when we go there and realize, no, it's not a girly thing. We are humans. We are sensitive beings. And being sensible means that you can sense, you can feel, you know? And it's a characteristic and also a need of both women and men, you know? So to be able to express what you have inside is really important for our health, our mental health, our emotional health. So one of the reasons why they would go there is to take care of themselves here, not here and here. Because we know that we have to brush our teeth, we have to take a shower, we have to do this, but oftentimes we neglect our mental health and our emotional health. And if we are humans, we have to take care of emotional health. Doesn't matter men or women, okay? The other thing is, like I said, most men, without knowing, they feel lonely, they feel isolated, they feel like I'm the only one going through these problems. So one important thing is for you to hear other men's stories and feel like, actually, there are other people like me who can be having the same questions, the same doubts, the same troubles, and maybe some have gone through this and they can assist me, or I can assist them if I have gone through this successfully, you know? But to create more union, more unity, because usually, even with our close friends, men usually keep their feelings and their worries to themselves. They can talk about sex, sometimes they can talk about drinks and work and cars, but many men don't allow themselves to speak if they fear something, like, oh, I'm afraid I might lose my partner or something, to the partners. To the friends, because they feel like they will be judged, you know? So the circles, men coming there, have the opportunity to be welcomed and embraced in a safe space. So in those circles, it's okay for you to be you. It's okay for you to have feelings. It's okay for you to have doubts and fears and worries. You're not weak because of that, and you're not less of a man because of that, you know? Another important thing is for men to learn how to, how can I say? learn how to connect better with themselves and with everyone else, with other men, with women. And because when we don't do that, we end up just acting the way we always learned. And we learned that for men, it's okay to be violent. It's okay to put other men down. It's okay.
You,
Did you lose
you
connection?
yeah, it was a little bit like this.
Okay. But did you hear my
Yes.
last part? When we don't talk about these things, sorry?
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think there is a lot of people at this time connected, so the connection is a little bit. But anyway, okay. Anyway, we
Sorry.
do.
But
Yeah, I feel like the connection is a little bit weird. But anyway, this is a little bit taste interview that I'm going to do. But anyway, we need to talk. Can you hear me? Yeah.
wow, it's breaking a little bit. So
Yeah.
I hear you
Yeah.
in bits and pieces.
Yeah, you know, I would say like this is the first, like a tiny taste of interview with you because we want to
Yes.
more. I want to talk with you about more topics, and I want to go deeper
Yeah.
into this kind of topic. So just
Sure.
this
It's
is
fun.
was just a taste to to let the people know you and
Yes.
the amazing energy that I met. And so it was important for me to share, let the people know a little bit you as a male energy as well. Yeah, I'm really interested in how you're doing and the way that you do it.
Yeah.
Before like the connection was going, I want to ask if the people want to come to, how can they do it?
Sure. Let me just say that it's really fun to talk about this. It's really fun to talk with you. So I'm having a lot of fun tonight. If people want to find me and ask more questions about meditation in general, active meditations, or about work with masculinity or Tantra in general, then they can do it through my Instagram, Akshar Tantra, this one, or my Facebook and YouTube pages. They have the same name. It's Anand Akshar. So if you come to my Instagram, it shows my name, Anand Akshar. And that's the name you can search on YouTube or you can search on Facebook. And you'll find some of my videos, some of my texts, some of my pictures of the work that I do. And you can always contact me. You can always make questions. Because asking questions, I think, is the first step. If you ask me a question, it helps me to think also. Helps me to think how I think about that. Maybe I have an answer, maybe I don't have an answer. But then I can go and look for it. I can ask friends, I can watch videos, I can do stuff. I can educate myself in different ways. If I do, then I can share my point of view and we can discuss, we can grow together. So one important thing of the circle is that I'm not leading people. I am just creating the space for us to grow together, to ask each other questions, to share experiences with each other, and to really have fun in the process, and the process of creating a more balanced, happier world. That's what I believe in.
This is interesting. Like a lot of men are a little bit scared about join this Men Circle as well because there is a competition energy between them. So they know okay,
Yeah.
there is a Men Circle, so there is a movement. But this is why like there is no leader when we're in the Men Circle. Thing, important thing, that everybody can share, they can their experience and give the energy.
Yes. That's exactly is that even though we do men circles, we also invited women already 3 times, and it was amazing. Women were there, but those nights were to talk about masculinity. There's a Brazilian movie called O Silêncio dos Homens, that means the silence of man. And it's amazing. I don't know if there are subtitles in English, but if you understand, or if people understand Portuguese, they should watch it. So I played that movie at the center. It's an open movie, anyone can play it. They made it public so that more people can have access. And women came and they discussed what their perspective on masculinity is, how they feel about the way men act and think and treat them. And it was a very good exchange. So sometimes we open up to women as well to talk about masculinity. I think it's important for men to talk about feminism, for example, or women's circle, and for women to talk about masculinity and men's circles. It's really important as well. Yeah.
Do you think we are ready? Do you think now we are ready working together in this way, like men and women? What do you think?
I do. And if we're not ready, we can make ourselves be ready. If you wait until we're ready, we'll never start. So I think we are ready. At the same time, like I said, I think it's important to have the 2 spaces. One that is just men, just women, and one that is everyone together. Because if we try to replace one with the other, we'll be not complete again. For me, that's a very important word, to be whole, to be complete. So Osho, which is the meditation and that Tantra master that I learned from, he says to be whole is to be holy. If you're not whole, then you're not holy. And the thing is not to replace, not to reject anything, but to learn how to integrate, to include, So these circles are also a place for all men to feel included. All sorts of men, like we said.
Yeah. So, there is anything more that you want to say? Maybe I want to say that we are ready to talk about.
Yeah. What I would want, my recommendation is everyone to ask more questions, to find out more. And when you do that, try to do that with enthusiasm and love. So not asking questions in an accusatory way, not researching because we are crazy about knowledge, but because it's part of life. It's part of the discovery. It's an adventure. So go out, ask yourself, what are your opinions about gender, about masculinity, about femininity? Ask others, ask your friends, ask your lovers, ask your parents, anyone you feel comfortable, just ask, and start the discussion or continue the discussion. That's what I will ask people to do,
I have another thing that I want to share with you. During this quarantine period, it's really good moment and so strong energy around. Now in Italy, the lockdown is a little bit it's going. So we are a little bit start to be back to the normal. I don't know about that.
Yes.
But for me, now that the life start to be come back to the normal, there is still releasing energy and a lot of stuff keeping moving. So this is something that I experience in my personal life as well at the moment. So I would like to know, what do you think, if you feel the same?
Yes. Yes.
We have a problem with alien. Alien. No. No? Right now?
Okay. Do
Okay, now
you?
yes. Now
Do
yes.
you hear?
Yeah.
Right. So I was saying, yes, I feel it. And I was saying that I proudly say that I'm a sensitive man and I sense a lot of things, and I feel the heaviness of the energy and the emotions, mine, my own, and of the people around, and of the, of the planet. So I do feel it, and I feel like it's now very important for us to find healthy and creative ways of dealing with ourselves and dealing with our demons and shadows and also the lights and everything, because yeah, we need to change. We need to stop um, being violent with ourselves and with others. And many times it's just because of ignorance. We don't know what we're doing. We are unconscious. So we need to start gaining more and more awareness about everything that has to do with us. Our lives, our planets, our bodies, our relations, everything. We should gain more and more awareness, and even our sensitivity to this thing. So I do feel like it's heavy, and it's the responsibility of each and all of us to work on creative ways of raising the vibration of ourselves and of the planet as well. We have to share more love, and we can.
Of course we can. Definitely.
Yeah.
We'll never stop. We'll never stop.
Never.
Okay, Akshar, brother. Thank you so much. Sorry
Thank
that
you. Thank you.
we had a little bit problem with the connection. Uh,
Yes.
we're gonna do another live, another video. We wanna do it on Facebook too, so we're gonna do few. And so we'll have a chat more because yeah, we have to do more conversation live. I think.
Sure. I'm completely open to that. I'm having so much fun. I don't care if the internet is being a challenge right now. I don't care. I really have enjoyed this discussion, and let's do it more times until this love can reach more people, more men, more women. We're here for that. Yeah? Thank you again for inviting me. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. I admire your work a lot. I've been following your work, and to be connected with you, it's really a joy for me. You're
Thank
such a
you.
sweet person, and this is the kind of message that we have to show to the world. Men can be sweet too. It's okay, and it's beautiful, and that doesn't make us less of men or anything. So yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I agree
thank
with
you,
you. And
thank you so much.
big
See you
hug,
soon.
big hug. See
Yes,
you soon.
thank you.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so talk soon, Ashka. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Grazie. Grazie.
Ciao, grazie.